Ever wondered what happens when a simple breakup text unleashes a chain of events so wild, it feels like a plot twist from a thriller novel, complete with lawyers, lies, and a dose of sweet, unintended karma? Buckle up, because this story of betrayal and backlash will have you rooting for justice every step of the way, with revelations that build to an unforgettable climax you won't see coming. My girlfriend sent me a text that struck like a bolt from the blue. "I've found someone else. I don't want anything more to do with you." My reply was poised and decisive, "As you wish." Immediately afterward, I revoked her access to my credit cards and severed the financial lifeline that sustained her lavish world. Barely a week passed before her attorney began urgently hounding me for contact, setting off a saga packed with twists that will keep you glued, from shocking audacity to the ultimate poetic payback. I'm a 31-year-old guy, and on the outside I keep things pretty straightforward. I own a logistics consulting firm that I built from the ground up. Back in my mid-20s, I launched it with nothing more than a beat-up second-hand laptop and a mountain of stress weighing me down. Those early days were absolute hell. Endless 80-hour weeks, surviving on the cheapest ramen I could find, and pouring every single cent back into the business to keep it afloat. But then, around 2 years ago, everything shifted. I scored a massive contract, followed by another one hot on its heels. My specialized niche, after all that relentless grinding, exploded into something incredibly lucrative. Now, it gives me the kind of comfortable existence I never thought possible. For the past 3 years, that life revolved around my girlfriend, Kayla. She's 28. When we first crossed paths, she was stuck in a dead-end job as a receptionist, but her real passion was becoming a curator in the fine arts world. She had this fire for it, yet lacked the right networks or the money to chase it freely. I fell hard for her. My world had been nothing but work, 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 and she burst in like a whirlwind of energy and creativity. I was convinced she was the one, and I genuinely wanted to support her ambitions. For the first time ever, I had the means to make a real difference. So I laid it out for her: ditch that soul-crushing job. Dive headfirst into your art history courses, snag those unpaid internships, and build those connections. I'll handle all the bills. It felt like we were partners building toward a shared tomorrow. And I meant it. I covered everything without hesitation. Her rent for that stylish, art-filled apartment right in the heart of downtown? A whopping $3,500 every month. Then there was the lease on her sleek Audi A5, which ran $800 a month, and I co-signed without a second thought. Her closet full of designer clothes, the fancy organic groceries she loved, all her art supplies. I handed over 2 credit cards where she was an authorized user. I never bothered glancing at the statements. My days are spent micromanaging details for clients, so in my personal life, I just craved that simple trust. We were coming up on our 3-year anniversary that Tuesday. I had booked a table at this upscale spot she'd been raving about for ages. I even picked out a stunning sapphire necklace, elegant and understated, just her style. I headed home a bit early, buzzing with excitement to catch her off guard with the surprise. But the place was empty. She wasn't there. Then, at 7:15 p.m., my phone lit up with her message. "Kayla, I've found someone else. I don't want anything more to do with you." Those 7 words stopped me cold. After 3 years of me bankrolling her whole world, that's all she had to say? I sat there, staring at the screen, feeling the shock ripple through me like a gut punch, leaving me drained and struggling to catch my breath. For a split second, I nearly fired off a barrage of desperate questions. Why her? Who is he? What went so wrong between us? But then this eerie, icy calm settled in. The raw, unfiltered harshness of her words, "Nothing more to do with you," was almost a twisted kind of mercy. It left no room for doubt. She'd slammed the door shut herself. She was done, crystal clear. So I tapped out my reply, "As you wish." 3 simple words. I silenced my phone, cracked open my laptop, and let the analytical side of my mind kick into gear. It was like flipping a switch, from heartbroken boyfriend to detached consultant. The issue at hand: a dissolved personal agreement with no legal strings attached. The fix? Sever every financial link, no loose ends. First up, the credit cards. I logged into my bank app and yanked her as an authorized user from both. The confirmation popped up, instant deactivation done. Next, the car lease. I pulled up the auto finance site. It was all in my name since I'd co-signed. I couldn't kill it on the spot, but the upcoming payment was just days away. I canceled the auto debit without a hitch. Then the apartment, lease in my name too. I dug out the rental contract PDF and spotted the break clause. 60 days notice plus a penalty of 2 months rent. It stung a bit financially, but it was straightforward and tidy. I composed a professional email to the property managers, triggering the clause, and copied myself for a dated record. After that, the smaller stuff, streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, all under my family plan. The boutique gym she adored, that gourmet meal kit service. I methodically updated passwords, deleted her access one by one. Even her phone line on my family plan, I started the removal process right then. The entire takedown wrapped up in about 45 minutes. By the end, I was numb, just a hollow shell. I threw some clothes into an overnight bag, left the sapphire necklace sitting on the kitchen counter like a forgotten relic, and crashed at my brother Luis's place. No way was I sticking around if she swung by to grab her stuff. The rest of the week? Radio silence from her end, which only solidified that she'd moved on. I assumed she was off in her new bliss. But come Friday afternoon, something must have clicked. Maybe a card got declined at a crucial moment. The messages flooded in, first begging, then bewildered, escalating to furious rants. I skimmed them but stayed silent. Then this morning, a full week later, an email landed in my inbox. Subject, urgent, regarding Kayla Vance. It was from a partner at some slick downtown law firm. He claimed to represent Miss Vance and demanded an immediate discussion about my summary and malicious cessation of established financial support. Turns out, my understated "as you wish" wasn't the closure she anticipated. Update 1. Hey folks, the outpouring of comments on my original story really helped anchor me through this mess. Thanks a ton for the support. This week has been a masterclass in sheer boldness. Following your suggestions, I brought in my own attorney. My dad swears by Mr. Phillips for all his business dealings. The guy's razor sharp, straight to the point. After I laid out the whole saga, he peered at me over his reading glasses and said, "Well, son, looks like you've crossed paths with a fresh breed of opportunist." Mr. Phillips dissected the email from Kayla's lawyer, this Mr. Bobby character. He actually laughed at the term malicious cessation, dismissing it as the courtroom version of a kid's tantrum. Lots of noise, zero substance. No legal weight whatsoever. He fired off a polished response to Mr. Bobby, making it clear. Our clients were never married, shared no assets, and the relationship, along with all those voluntary gifts, ended on Miss Vance's own terms. He wrapped it up by noting that any future correspondence needed to go straight through him. But this wasn't some bold demand for $75,000 or anything like that. No, it escalated into something far sneakier and more underhanded. Mr. Bobby fired back with this official letter, pushing for what he called a confidential transitional support settlement. It was packed with all sorts of ridiculous claims about Kayla's deep career commitments and her emotional stakes in our relationship, painting my sudden cutoff of funds as the cause of massive professional hurdles and intense psychological pain. They were actually suggesting I keep covering her rent and car payments for a full 6 months, plus hand over a farewell lump sum of $20,000, all to sidestep what they threatened would be a drawn-out, messy public court battle. It was nothing short of a classic shakedown, plain as day. Mr. Phillips just shook his head and recommended we blow right past it, not even dignifying it with a response. Let them burn through their cash, he advised. If they try suing over this nonsense, it's basically malpractice on their end. The real excitement kicked in as the repercussions started hitting hard, one after another. Come Saturday, my phone rang off the hook from Judith, the no-nonsense property manager at her former apartment building. Kayla had rolled up with her new guy Russell in tow, demanding keys to get inside. Judith stood firm, refusing point blank since Kayla's name wasn't anywhere on the lease. Apparently, Kayla lost it, throwing a full-blown tantrum, screaming about how her entire life's work was locked up in there and she couldn't survive without it. Russell, trying to act like the tough hero, leaned in and warned Judith, "We can turn this into a real nightmare for you." But Judith? She's dealt with every kind of drama under the sun. She just coolly gestured to the no trespassing sign posted right there and suggested he take a good long look at it. Next thing I knew, the text started pouring in straight to me, bypassing the lawyers entirely. You can't seriously lock me out like this. My internship portfolio is trapped in there, and you know my big review is next week. Then another. They just called from the Audi dealership. The payment bounced. That car's co-signed, you idiot. You're tanking your own credit score too. How dumb can you be? It was all a desperate bluff, of course. My credit? Rock solid, unbreakable. One missed payment that I'd sort out later wouldn't even scratch the surface. But hey, points for creativity. Russell's a stand-up guy, she went on. He's in real estate development and he can't wrap his head around how petty you're being. He says you're messing with forces you can't handle. Still, I held my ground, no replies from me. I captured screenshots of every single message and forwarded them straight to Mr. Phillips. He was over the moon about it. Reaching out directly after lawyers are involved? She's handing us ammunition on a silver platter. This just keeps getting better. But the lowest blow landed yesterday when a shared friend forwarded me a screenshot from Kayla's private Instagram story. It was this dramatic, tear-streaked selfie with a caption that read, "At last, breaking free from a financially abusive and manipulative nightmare. The path forward scares me to death, but I'm beyond thankful for the people showing me true kindness. #survivor. She was straight up framing me as some kind of monster, for daring to stop funding her lavish setup after she ditched me for another dude. Mr. Phillips is already putting together a strong cease and desist order to shut down the slander before it spreads further. We've set up a supervised pickup for her belongings now. I had to shell out for 2 impartial movers to handle it, and her lawyer has to be on site the whole time. This round we're locking in a detailed inventory list to avoid any funny business. It's mind-blowing how she figured she could just upgrade her provider, like picking a new item off a menu and still cling to all the perks. Absolutely unreal. Update 2. This entire ordeal has veered off in directions I never saw coming. The move-out day turned into total chaos, but not the kind I braced for, and the backlash from her phony #survivor post is starting to echo out in unexpected waves that I didn't even stir up. We had the whole thing lined up for Saturday morning. I brought in the movers. Mr. Phillips prepped a strict inventory of personal items only, and her attorney, Mr. Bobby, was locked in to oversee starting at 10 a.m. sharp. At 9:45 a.m., though, one of the movers buzzed me. "Sir, the woman and this gentleman just showed up. They're claiming their lawyers delayed and pushing to kick things off early." My gut twisted instantly. I dialed Mr. Phillips right away and he instructed me to order the movers to hold off. No entry until everyone was present. But it was already too late. The crew, aiming to be accommodating, had let them into the lobby. Mr. Phillips got Mr. Bobby on the line, who spun some tale about being jammed in traffic and arriving 30 minutes behind schedule. Yeah, right, smelled like a blatant setup from a mile away. I reinforced with the movers. Stick to the plan, only boxed personal stuff gets moved, nothing else. For the following half hour, Kayla and Russell pulled out all the stops. They tried intimidating the team, claiming they were part of Russell's hired crew, to blend in. Then Kayla flipped to waterworks mode, sobbing that the movers were scaring her half to death. The real explosion happened over the furniture. She demanded the custom-built bookshelf, that fancy ergonomic desk, the plush memory foam mattress, and the massive 65-inch OLED TV, insisting they were all gifts and rightfully hers. The head mover, this burly, unflappable guy, positioned himself right in their path and said evenly, "Hold up, folks, that's not listed on my approved inventory of personal belongings. Set it down, please." Russell bristled, puffing up like he owned the place. "And who the hell are you to dictate what we take?" The mover didn't bat an eye. "I'm the one this gentleman paid to safeguard his property from any theft. Put it back or my phone's dialing the cops next." Just then Mr. Phillips strode in, cool as ice. He didn't yell or make a scene, just scanned Kayla, then Russell, then the TV dangling in their grips. He pulled out receipts for every disputed item, each one stamped with my name as the purchaser. He laid it out flat. Since her lawyer wasn't there yet, their grab for extra stuff violated our agreement outright. If they didn't back off and stick to the listed boxes, he'd be reporting them for attempted grand larceny on the spot. Beaten down and seething with rage, they snatched up her packed boxes and stormed out, but not before leaving behind a total disaster, deep scuff marks scarring the walls, garbage scattered across the floor like confetti from a nightmare. The landlord hit me with a $1,200 charge for all the damage repairs. Without missing a beat, Mr. Phillips bundled up that invoice along with the mover's detailed incident report and shot it over to Mr. Bobby. Now here's where things got intriguing, my so-called revenge? I didn't orchestrate a single bit of it, it was all handed off to the relentless court of public opinion, and boy, did it deliver. You remember that manipulative #survivor post she blasted out? Well, Kayla had been grinding away, or at least pretending to, as an unpaid intern at this exclusive little art gallery in town. The art scene around here? It's incredibly tight-knit, everyone knows everyone else's business. One of the up-and-coming junior curators, a sharp young woman named Leslie whom I'd crossed paths with a couple of times, stumbled upon that post. She knew me just well enough to smell the outright lying calling me a financial abuser, and it turned her stomach. She didn't need to launch some big campaign or anything dramatic. She simply shared the post with a trusted colleague, and from there, the whispers ignited into a blazing gossip firestorm. Suddenly, the tale of Kayla Vance, the intern who flaunted a millionaire's lifestyle without lifting a finger for a paycheck, was everywhere. How she'd viciously badmouthed the very guy who'd bankrolled her dreams after coldly dumping him for some slick real estate guy. It flipped the script entirely, casting her not as some brave victim, but as someone profoundly unreliable, entitled, and downright poisonous to be around. The gallery's director, a no-nonsense powerhouse who guards her institution's image like a priceless artifact, pulled Kayla aside last week for a discreet chat. In the politest terms possible, she made it clear. This internship just wasn't the right match anymore, and it was time to part ways. See, the fallout wasn't limited to her wallet anymore. It had seeped into her reputation, tarnishing everything she touched, and the best part? I didn't have to do a damn thing. It all unfolded on its own. Final update. I'm putting this down one last time for a straightforward purpose. To claim the story on my terms once and for all. My original post somehow spread to corners of the internet I never imagined, and I want the unfiltered, honest account to stand as the definitive close before I slam this book shut forever. After that last wild chapter, everything simmered down to a hush for a bit. I rounded up all the leftover furniture from the apartment, the custom pieces, the high-end stuff, and donated every last item to a local charity that lifts up families rebuilding their lives. Seeing those trucks pull away with it all? It was like a deep, purifying exhale, washing away the remnants. I squared away the lease termination fee, cleared the final utility tabs, and watched those lingering connections fade into nothing. My days settled into a peaceful rhythm. Diving back into work, hitting the gym hard, sharing laid-back dinners with my brother. The raw fury that had burned so hot gradually cooled, leaving behind a toughened scar and a hard-earned wisdom I wouldn't trade. The true wrap-up to this mess arrived from two unexpected fronts. First off, it came via my steadfast lawyer, Mr. Phillips. After he'd forwarded over the damage bill and that eyewitness report from the movers, Kayla's attorney, Mr. Bobby, mustered one last puff of hot air in a pompous letter. Mr. Phillips kept his response short and devastatingly effective. He attached a stern warning. Any push toward a lawsuit would trigger an immediate countersuit from me, covering not just the damages and mover costs, but my mounting legal bills too, plus a standalone civil action for defamation, backed by her inflammatory social media rants. He sealed it with a killer line, "We've got every receipt in order. How about you?" Dead air followed. They crumbled, backed off completely. Game over. The other piece of closure dropped in from Leslie, that kind curator from the gallery. She reached out with an email about 2 weeks back, a thoughtful, understated note. "Hey, hoping you're holding up all right," it started. Things turned into quite the storm around here once Kayla was gone. Figured you might appreciate this. It looks like her own dad is stepping in to clear the air. Tucked in was a link to a public Facebook post from Kayla's father. My pulse quickened at first, bracing for some fresh horror, But what I read was something wildly different. A raw, meandering outpouring from a heartbroken parent. He steered clear of dropping my name, but the details painted a vivid picture. His daughter walking away from a solid, dependable partner who'd fueled her aspirations, only to chase after a glitzy phony living on borrowed glamour. He poured out how the weight of matching Kayla's extravagant demands, without my steady backing, had shattered the new romance. Turns out, Russell wasn't some big-shot developer after all. He was just a commission-chasing real estate agent, propping up his flashy facade on a tower of debt, with earnings that swung wildly from feast to famine. The whirlwind chaos Kayla dragged along, like getting booted from her internship over unprofessional behavior, had somehow leaked into his professional circles. In an industry where your word and image are everything, getting tagged as the dude entangled in a scandalous, lawsuit-riddled mess was like career kryptonite. His deals dried up, commissions tanked, and the money crunch snapped their bond in two with a brutal, screaming fallout. As her dad laid it bare, Kayla ended up crawling back home, penniless, internshipless, carless. It got repoed, and she'd burned bridges with nearly all her real friends. That glittering curator fantasy? Buried under the harsh truth of crashing in her old childhood room, drowning in bills. He wrapped his post with a poignant gut punch. She had a sturdy ladder climbing straight to her dreams, but she leaped off it chasing a venomous illusion instead. The repercussions? They were utter and absolute, yet entirely organic. Her spiteful lies and over-the-top entitlement shredded her standing in the art community. Boom, internship gone, along with any shot at local gigs. Her shiny new beau, all flash without foundation, buckled under the cash and credibility squeeze. Result: their love story exploded into dust. Her aggressive stunts with the movers and that laughable lawsuit threat backfired spectacularly, leaving her with zilch except a hefty bill and the shadow of my potential countersuit. Do I feel a rush of victory from all this chaos? Truth be told, not even a flicker of satisfaction lights me up. Instead, it's this quiet, introspective peace settling in, like the cosmos itself has gently shifted back into balance, righting the wrongs without fanfare. Real justice doesn't crash down like a bolt from the blue. It's the unrelenting force of repercussions, pulling everything into place just like gravity shapes the stars. I fired off a heartfelt thank you to Leslie for the update, and we exchanged a few casual, uplifting notes. It was a breath of fresh air, a gentle link back to that chapter of my past, reminding me that the world isn't filled solely with opportunists lurking in the shadows. My life? It's entirely in my hands again, free and unburdened. Now, I'm pouring my focus into expanding my business, putting my personal development front and center. The hard lessons have sunk in deep. Take your time forging trust, verify every detail along the way, and grasp that you can uplift another's aspirations without becoming the fragile base they can carelessly topple. As for Kayla and Russell, they've faded completely from my horizon. No messages, no echoes of turmoil, and I've arrived at this profound serenity, truly content with letting their paths remain a mystery. And with that, we reach the definitive end of this gripping saga. If this tale of betrayal, consequences, and quiet redemption kept you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button to show your support, drop a comment with your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe to Dark Infidelity Stories for more raw, real-life accounts that dive into the shadows of relationships gone wrong. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Your shares help us reach more hearts and minds. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.